All right, let's talk a little bit about equity and equality. Those are kind of buzzwords that have a whole bunch of baggage associated with them, each one of those. For most of the past couple hundred years in the United States, we've been talking about equality of citizens, people, opportunities, stuff like that. For the past 5 years in particular, although probably for the past 20 years, but in particular for the past 5 years, the biggest word has been equity. So, what is the difference between equity and equality? If we look at basic understandings of equity and equality, then we could look at it through prisms of distribution of resources, the money, the land, the resources, the things that are available to all citizens in the United States or in the world, if you extrapolate from this to the wider context of the world. Or we can look at it as basic opportunities to succeed in life, in whatever we happen to do, whether that's invention or creation or management of a store or educational opportunities, right? Stuff like that. Education. We can look at it as the difference between opportunity versus outcome. And we'll get to that as well in the next video. No, actually, in the tail end of this video, we'll be looking at equity versus equality through the prism of merit, earning what it is that we accomplished or attain at various points in our lives, those kinds of things. To start with, let's talk about the basic difference between equity and equality, particularly as it has to do with how society distributes not opportunities, but resources, taxes that have been taken or stolen from its citizens by the government, so that we can take all of that money and then give it back out to the people that need it the most, whether that's in the form of healthcare or housing or business opportunities or education, stuff like that. So redistribution of wealth. Equality means that everybody has the same opportunity to access those resources and build their better mousetrap or their iPhone or bridge or whatever it happens to be. They can create something on the same playing field with other people that are trying to create a new invention or a better way of marketing an existing invention to other people. That would be equality. People have the equal chance to use those resources to better their state in life, at least economically speaking, but not necessarily just economically speaking. It could be their moral stature in society as well. All of that could be viewed through the prism of equality. Now, equity is different. Rather than saying everybody has the opportunity to improve their existence, it means we're focusing on the existence where we want people to result at this level of status or this level of success or this level of business prowess. And so we start distributing the resources of society based upon the outcomes that we want to attain. So it's not a matter of opportunity. It's a matter of outcome, making sure that we have a fair or equal outcome. So equal outcome translates to equity. So those are the basic distinctions between equality and equity. So equality would be same opportunities for all people, and equity would be the same outcomes for all people, which, that sounds very sweet and rosy, but obviously not everybody is the same. So the person that works 2 hours per day to attain a specific result should not be able to attain the same result as someone that works 22 hours per day to attain that specific result. All kinds of different levels of basic talent and education and experience work going into attaining a specific result would suggest that giving the same outcomes to all people, regardless of what hurdles they have to overcome, is not necessarily the right answer for society. Nevertheless, equity is big in society right now. We love that kind of thing because it seems to overcome stuff like what people call historic or systemic bias against certain groups of people. It gets back into that group identity thing we talked about with regard to rights, group identity rights. If we could say that we've been part of an oppressed group for a period of time, for instance, we need a leg up. We need someone to give us extra time or money or advantage over other people so that we can attain the same outcomes. It's kind of related to this group identity rights concept that we discussed in our previous series of videos. There are about 5 of them that were in those videos. So, equality of opportunity ensures that everybody has the same access to resources. Equality of outcome is equity. It ensures that everybody is given a boost so that they can get the same results as everybody else without calculating the merit that goes into attaining those results, or the basic talents, or the thinking that goes into those kinds of things. For the people that are advocates of equality of outcome, they're saying, well, I'll work harder than the next guy to attain the best results. When the incentive to work harder is taken away from them, however, there's no reason to work harder to attain the same results, because those same results are going to manifest one way or the other. That's a bit of a problem. So distinction reflects the debates about fairness, and we'll devote a whole couple of videos to the idea of fairness and justice, related terms that we'll discuss in both legal context as well as the context of social interaction, the way people react towards one another. Let's talk a little bit about the idea of merit or earning something. One of the biggest policies and themes of the past few years has been DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, right? So different investors or companies, in order to show that they are woke and should not be canceled, are DEI or have DEI policies where they'll hire people from, well, specific identity groups that have been oppressed in the past, and they'll give them positions in their companies, even positions of authority and leadership, based upon DEI policies. For the conservatives, we see DEI, and instead of calling them diversity, equity, and inclusion, we say it did not earn it. And basically, someone is hired simply because their membership in a group that they're identified with. So their group identity is what gets them a job, and not necessarily the work that they put into getting qualified to handle those jobs. Merit is not really a consideration. So merit goes with the idea that people earn their positions, right? They become a lawyer because they pass a bar that tests them critically in basic knowledge of the law, of the jurisdiction or the venue that they want to practice in. Doctors have to pass specific residence requirements and exams in order to become doctors, and brain surgeons and stuff like that. Pilots fly planes because they are uniquely qualified to fly those planes, particularly if they're flying something like passenger jets or airliners and have responsibility for hundreds of people in their hands. We want people who have attained those positions through merit, that have shown themselves capable of doing those jobs. We don't want necessarily DEI hires flying the plane that, if it crashes, is going to kill 300 to 500 people. DEI goes with equity, but equity is not necessarily in the best interest of the people. It makes us feel better about ourselves to say that we're DEI, that we're lifting up people that have been oppressed in the past, whether they really have been oppressed in the past or not. Maybe they're not, but we'll talk about that in another video. But DEI, equity, those are the implications of equity. Merit is the opposite of that. So equality and merit, under equality of opportunity, merit is very central. It's all about earning the grades that people get at the end of their semester. I just finished teaching a semester of the university, some law and police related classes, and I gave out grades. I gave basically 30% A's, 30% B's, and the rest C's, D's, and F's. Right? Who got the A's? Not everybody. I did not give A's to everybody. I wasn't looking for an equitable outcome where we have the equal outcome, the fairest outcome for everybody that's a member of the class. It was definitely based upon merit. People would take my exams, and if they did well, they had a better chance of getting a better grade. If they attended, then they had a better chance of getting a good grade. If they did well on projects or in class discussions, those things worked in their favor. Merit and equality of opportunity go together and basically separate the people that want to coast through life and have everybody else do their work for them and then reap the benefits that other people have earned for them, as opposed to those people that are willing and eager to work their way through life and get where they are through their own efforts. Equity and merit. In an equity-focused model, merit is considered to be alongside individual circumstances. In other words, we can say that some people that are starting at the bottom have more hurdles to overcome to attain the specific outcomes that they desire. Well, we can say that they merit to go from one step to the next step and finally getting to that ultimate outcome. But generally speaking, merit and equity do not go together. And when we focus on valuing people, DEI is not the basis for our valuing other people. People are closer to us than others. We hold them as close friends or first-tier friends as opposed to third-tier friends because they provide some valuable to us, right? We look at things as being more appropriate under certain circumstances. It's the merit that we go to. It's our go-to concept. So tension between merit and outcome in equity, well, obviously they don't naturally go together. They might make us feel better, but remember, it's not the job of the government to make us feel better. The job of the government is simply to provide for us an environment, a world that we can work and exist in concert with the people that are around us and our social environment, right? Any place for something beyond the supererogatories, the super duties, the emotional context, and the extra attention, the charity that we might have comes from individuals. It doesn't from government. We don't expect to pass charitable laws from government. We expect that charity to come from individuals. Government doesn't do anything well, except for providing security and protecting our natural rights. Individuals, however, acting charitably, well, they're second to none. And we need to leave that to individuals. So the practice balancing merit, equity, and equality, it's a challenge. And we can look to the private sector to find that balance between those. When it comes to government, however, and government policies, equity should not be a consideration. It's not the job of the government to lift people up so that they can compete with other people for equal opportunities. They offer the equal opportunities for everybody and make sure that those opportunities are available. They reward merit, as we should as well, particularly in our businesses. I'm not going to have DEI hires in my business. I'm going to hire people that are the best people suited for the job. I'm not going to hire people because they might be suited, but basically it doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is their gender preference or their race or their ethnicity. I'm going to look for someone that can do the job. Merit. Equality of opportunity, not equity. Okay, that sets us up for our next discussion. Our next discussion will still be with regard to the interplay between equity and equality of outcome, equality of opportunity. But it'll deal with the concept of fairness. So we'll get to fairness next video. I'll talk to you more then. Take care.